wish you fruitful observations on behalf of the Senate and joining mercies back to your institution. You may be seated. Correspondence from Mr. President.
You're on to the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am Lami Ali. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is presiding over today's plenary, which is just commencing, and he has a letter before him from President Bola Tinubu.
Which vests legislative powers over the Federal Capital Territory on the National Assembly. I hereby present the 2025 FCT budget proposal to the Senate for consideration. The 2025 FCT budget proposal prioritizes investment in healthcare services, job creation, youth empowerment, social welfare services, education infrastructure, as well as increasing productivity in agriculture. Our objective is to lift as many of our citizens out of poverty as we can. The Senate is invited to note that on the basis of revenue forecast for the FCT, a total expenditure of 1,783,823,708,392 naira is proposed for the year 2025. As such, 85% of the capital expenditure is dedicated to the completion of ongoing projects, while 15% is for new capital projects. This is to sustain the ongoing efforts at providing basic infrastructure and social amenities in the Federal Capital Territory. I hereby forward the 2025 FCT statutory budget proposal and trust that it will receive the expeditious consideration and passage by the Senate. Please accept, distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senate President, and distinguished senators, the assurances of my highest regards. Yours sincerely, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, this is already on the order paper for first reading, so we'll take the first reading. Any petitions? No petitions. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in my name on the Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in my name on the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 Amendment Bill 2025, SB 788. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 Amendment Bill 2025, SB 788, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, the Southeast Development Commission Act 2024 Amendment Bill 2025, SB 788, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Ahmed Abdul Ningi on the National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 779. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Youth Service Corps NYSC Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 779, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, National Youth Service Corps NYSC Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 779, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Abaribe Eyinaya on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025, SB 775. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 Alteration Bill 2025, SB 775, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Alteration Bill 2025, SB 775, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Yisa Ashiro Oyelola on the Federal Polytechnic Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 789. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Polytechnic Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 789, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Polytechnic Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 789, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the sixth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of most distinguished Senator Cyril Oluwole Fashuyi on the Pension Reform Act 2014 Amendment Bill 2025, SB 777. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Pension Reform Act 2014 Amendment Bill 2025, SB 777, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Pension Reform Act Amendment Bill 2025, SB 777, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the second reading of a bill standing in the name of the Senate leader on the Federal Capital Territory FCT Appropriation Bill 2025 SB 787. Mr. President, to be able to do this, I most respectfully wish to move a motion for the suspension of Rule 78.1 of our order paper. And Mr. President, if I have your permission, I would like to read this rule.
Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Rule 78 deals with appointment days for stages of bills. And 78.1 reads, every bill shall receive 3 readings previous to its passage, which readings shall be in different days, unless the Senate unanimously directs otherwise. And the President of the Senate shall give notice at each reading whether it is first, second, or third. Mr. President, this morning bill has just been presented for first reading, and for me to be able to take the second reading today, which will enable us to refer it to the relevant committee on Federal Capital Territory, as well as our committee on FCT area councils. It is important that I take this second reading. And that is why I have asked for a suspension of Order 78 sub 1. I so move, Mr. President.
Yes, Minority Leader. A motion is on the floor. We will come to your point of order.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I second the motion that the Senate suspends its relevant rules to enable a second reading of the bill. I still second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that we invoke Rule 78 subsection 1 to suspend the order of proceedings to enable the bill to be read a second time. Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Here is point of order, Senator Ningi.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abdul Ningi, and I refer to the President and distinguished senators to Order 77, sub 3 and 4. And by your grace, I read sub 3. The President of the Senate shall forward such bills to the Committee on Rules and Business for publication in the schedule of bills in the order paper are registered in the register of bill. Number 4, which is not suspended, a printed copy of the bill shall, as soon as possible, be sent to every senator. Sent to every senator.
Yes, the Senator Ningi.
They are just bringing these copies now.
No, I don't explain. Your point of order is sustained. Now,
this is a money bill. Don't play with it.
The printed copy, the gazetted copy is being distributed to all senators. And just in line with Rule 77, it's already on the order paper equally. That's why I said your point of order is sustained. Yes, Leader of the Senate.
Well, Mr. President,
Proceed to lay the foundation for second reading.
Okay.
We are
Well,
going-
let me also be sure that distinguished colleagues are getting copies of the gazetted copy.
It's being distributed. Please
Okay.
proceed.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I thank you for the opportunity to lead the debate on the general principles of the FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill 2025. The bill was read for the first time today, being Wednesday, 14th day of May 2025. The 2025 FCT Statutory Appropriation Bill seeks to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 1,783,823,708,392 naira only, of which the sum of 150,353,906,168 naira only is for personnel costs, while the sum of 343,777,448 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 1,289,690,124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing from 1st of January and ending on 31st December of the year 2025. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the thrust of the FCT 2025 statutory budget proposal is to ensure an effective and enduring service-oriented administration for the completion of ongoing projects and the provision of effective services to the residents of the FCT. Highlights of the capital expenditure of FCT 2025 statutory appropriation bill. The total proposed FCT 2025 statutory appropriation is 1,783,823,708,392 naira, out of which the sum of 150,353,906,168 naira only is for personnel costs, and the sum of 280,527,373,668 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 1,289,690,124,776 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Mr. President, very distinguished senators, emphasis has been placed on the completion of ongoing projects, particularly those with high impact on the provision of services and infrastructure to the residents of the Federal Capital Territory. However, a few new projects that are considered absolutely necessary have also been included in the budget proposal. Mr. President, most distinguished colleagues, I urge you all to give this bill an expeditious passage into law. I thank you and may God bless you.
Distinguished Senator Mongol.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. Well, my submission is with regard to the completion of ongoing projects. I think it is very good that this budget imbibes the culture of completing ongoing projects against the culture of abandoning ongoing projects by new administration. This is highly commendable because when we abandon projects that are ongoing and embark upon new projects, is tantamount to being found foolish and penny wise. So because of that, I support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Distinguished Senator Shiru.
Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleague, I'm Senator Ashiru, representing the good people of Kwara South. I stand to support the second reading of this appropriation bill based on the fact that we are all witness to the great work that is happening in the Federal Capital Territory. And I'm of the opinion that if this type of progress should be sustained, we should back the process with prompt and adequate response. When you look at this appropriation, the capital content is almost 70%, while the overhead and the personnel cost remains at 30%. I'm of the opinion that this is a very balanced budget. Recommend this for second reading.
Distinguished Senator Nweboyi.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Peter Onyekachi Nweboyi with the golden crown of Ebonyi North Senatorial Zone of Ebonyi State. Mr. President, I rise to support this bill, and I'm doing that considering what I can describe as total infrastructural transformation that is ongoing in FCT today. It therefore requires the cooperation of the Parliament to enable the Honorable Minister, Nyesom Wike, to continue his good works. Mr. President, digesting further the budgetary provision, we can see that much provisions are made for the infrastructure development of the capital city, which is the citadel of power for the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Another area I would like to use this medium to draw the attention of the FCT Minister is the people living within the Abuja airport. Mr. President, I want the FCT Minister to extend his infrastructure development of the city within the surroundings of the Abuja airport. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, if you are descending into Abuja airport, the inhabitants, the type of infrastructure within the environs, Your Excellency, does not represent the good image of this country. And I think that the FCT Minister should capture in their next budget, if not incorporated in this, to either relocate the inhabitants of the people within the airport or renew the area, at least, because that is the mirror of the country as we are descending into Abuja airport. Some of us, if you take into account to view the environs of the airport while descending into Abuja, you will agree with me, Excellency, there is an eyesore. It doesn't give good image of the nation, and I think something has to be done about it. So I urge you, all my colleagues, to support this all-important bill, all geared towards transforming completely the FCT of Nigeria. Thank you.
So, which part of the airport?
The Abuja airport, yes, let's see.
Are you? No, let's. If you are coming from the airport,
if you are descending,
the first place you see.
If you are descending.
Let's take it gently.
Yes, let's see.
The first place you see on the right is the presidential wing. Thereafter, you come across a very beautiful flyover.
Yes, let's see.
Which is almost like a boulevard. You understand? And you will now descend towards the road that comes to the airport. Then when you get to the airport road, you now see 8 lanes,
yes,
complete with street lights.
Yes, let's see.
Particularly in the night, very beautiful.
Yes, let's see.
And all that. So, which part gives you cramps in your stomach?
Is the shanties within the back of the airport, yes, let's see. At the back of the airport.
That when you are inside a plane.
Yes, let's see.
That is somebody's village, oh.
Yes, let's see. But it's within the capital territory.
No,
and there is no how if you are landing.
The owners of that village, those are their houses. That's what they can afford. But are you saying that we should go to those villages and evacuate them so that when your plane is coming down, what you will see high rises?
Your Excellency.
No, I want to understand.
Yes, Your Excellency.
You are talking about when you look out of the window.
Yes, Your Excellency.
You want to see beautiful Chinese infrastructure.
Yes, Your Excellency.
But that is what that place belongs to people.
No, Your Excellency, this is a capital territory of Nigeria. And we are talking of the image of the nation. Okay, so the image of the nation starts with when your plane is descending. Your Excellency.
And then you look at what happens in a place like Akwa Ibom. When you descend, you see water and you see creeks. So we should eliminate the creeks and close them.
No, Your Excellency.
So that it will not spoil your eyes.
Your Excellency.
That is the image of the nation.
Your Excellency, everybody that uses Abuja airport will agree with me, sir. But the issue is, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Okay. Distinguished colleagues, all those that use Abuja airport, all those that use Abuja airport, do you agree with him? Those in support say aye. No, those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. So there's a lot of disagreement. This is Senator Abiru.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Whip, call your house into order. Hello. Hello. Mr. President. Mr. President. Control your house now. Hello, Mr. President. My name is Distinguished Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, and I represent Lagos East. I equally would like to join my colleagues. I'd like to join my colleagues in commending all of the development initiatives of the current Minister of Federal Capital Territory. I also would like to commend even the structure of this appropriation bill. Just like Senator Ashiru mentioned, you know, this is one budget that will look very, very developmental in the sense that the component, about 72% of this budget is focused on infrastructural development, and I equally commend. But I think there is there are two major issues that I see here. On the face of the very first one, the Senate leader referred to the breakdown on the first page, but I'm sure the breakdown on the second page in his summary don't tally with the first page, in the sense that the overheads that he referred to in the first page is about 343 billion, while on the second page is about 280 billion. I also think that we need to harmonize. That is one. But more importantly, the second point that I would like to raise is the fact that here we have a budget on expenditure, but we don't have the sources of revenue. And I think it's important. That we also should know how all of these expenditures will be financed. And I think this particular presentation is short of that. So that would be my submission, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues.
So what it means is that the committee that will work on the budget must find out the sources of revenue so that they can match it with the, yes. I have a problem now. The civil senator, Adero, His Excellency and Governor, with our former leader, the civil senator, Yaya. I was looking for you people on the left, and suddenly I saw you. I saw you on the right. Eh? And you mean you can actually leave Senator Dengue alone there? well, maybe you may not need to comment on it because we are talking about budget now. So, Senator Aliru, you have the floor. Ningi, you can sit where you are.
Thank you, Mr. President. My distinguished colleagues, let me start by commending the Minister of FCT on the development strides taking place in FCT, particularly within the Federal Capital Territory, the city center. All ongoing projects are about to be completed, and new ones have been embarked upon. So it is highly commendable. But Mr. President, I have an observation, and that observation is in the social sector. FCT is meant to accommodate 750 million people. But today, due to population explosion, we have well over 2.5 million people living in the FCT. And this calls for educational facilities, health facilities to be provided.
The statistics.
And, I will...
the statistics.
Pardon?
FCT is meant to accommodate how many people?
750,000 people.
Okay.
Yes. But now we have well over 2.5 million people living in the Federal Capital Territory. So this means that we have to provide for education, health facilities, water, and what have you. And the budget is emphasizing so much on infrastructure, not much on these sectors I mentioned, the social sector. And the point made by distinguished Senator Anwar Mboyi, he is referring to the illegal settlements. These people were moved from the city center, and they went and started building around the airport. So they are there illegally. For your information, that land has already been allocated to people, but development has not reached there. Once development reaches there, they will be pushed out. And it has been like that for the last 10, 15 years. Today, if you move them from one point, they will go to another point and stay. And then when the development reaches there, they will be asked to move. And it has been like that, like I said. And it's a vicious cycle. So simply because people keep on coming into FCT, there is no control. And it's a home for all Nigerians, irrespective of their state of origin or their tribe. Anybody that comes to FCT is free to stay because it is our national treasure. So, Mr. President, I lend my support to the passage of this important bill, and I urge all of my colleagues to do the same. But emphasis should be on social sector, education, health sector, and also water supply. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Having been a minister of FCT, you have the contour, you have the knowledge of the topography of the FCT in your hands. So, Senator Webby, so he's lending credence to what you said. Yeah, so that
my points are germane.
Your points are clear now. Because he's saying that you were referring to illegal structures. So your points are taken. The Senator Adam Oshumole.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And on a lighter note, I'd like to know my brother, Delta.
You're on to the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, transmitting to you live plenary from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. At the moment in chamber is the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, presiding over plenary as they take the debate on the bill transmitted from Mr. President to for the approval of the 2025 statutory budget of the Federal Capital Territory, totaling 1.7 trillion naira. And this is where we come to the end of today's live coverage of plenary. We thank you for your time on behalf of our transmission crew and those that participated in the production. We thank you for your time and urge you to stay tuned as we continue transmission of other scheduled programs.